let's just do a Christmas shot for everyone.
All right. To everybody who's here, thank you for being here.
We appreciate you. And if you're hearing this after we record, we appreciate you too. Surprise shots. Surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise.
That was that pineapple cream.
Yeah, it was good.
Better than the peppermint.
What is up, everyone? I got a crazy episode today. Charlie Chop Off. Anyone want to take a guess of what that's about?
He be chopping off D's.
You think he's chopping off D?
That's what I thought of.
Why would he chop off D's?
Because he's angry. Maybe he was abused as a child, and so he's taking revenge against his abusers and other people who tend to be abusers.
Oh, like an Avenger case?
Yeah, but like maybe he's
like the Alaskan Avenger? That was a great one.
Like maybe he's being proactive. I don't know.
Proactive? Like he's chopping off peens before they actually commit the crime?
Like
just
some
in case?
Minority Report shit.
Yeah.
Minority penis chopping report. All right, tonight we're actually starting 17th of August, 1973, 325 East Houston Street, Lower East Side.
Manhattan.
Jen, spell Manhattan for us.
Manhattan.
Does that check out? Spell it backwards for us, Jen.
Nattannam.
Now spell it the correct way, but replace each A with the letter Z.
MZHZZTTZN.
All right.
That was wrong, but that's okay.
I put an extra Z in there. I think I stuttered and put an extra Z in there.
It's okay. I mean, I knew, but technically it was incorrect.
It was my stutter.
Did I stutter?
All right, tonight we are going to, what did I say, 325 what?
But the other two were correct, right? Front and back.
It sounded accurate.
I know the front was correct, but the back I think was also correct.
I think so.
I prefer the back entrance. All right, so we're going to 325.
Sucks for you because I don't think he's like that.
Nope, must be somebody else.
No, she's getting
Oh my
used
God,
to
shush.
it. He's walking fine.
Stop. Shut up.
Oh, you want me to shut up?
Yeah.
You going to do the story?
Where's the whip?
All right, here's where we're going to right
I
now.
think you should whip him on camera since he assaulted me.
We're going to New York.
Oh, look at this fucking pool.
Wow, that's a big pool. Hamilton Fish Park.
This is a fish park?
No, I think that's
the
like
name
an
of the park.
Olympic swimming
Look, there's
pool.
like two different pools. There's like the Olympic size swimming pool,
The
a
playground?
nice.
stairs. I've
Oh, this
seen
shit.
this place before.
Mm-hmm. Where were you cleaning it up?
No, it was in my dream.
Yeah, because you were here, Jen. Mm-hmm.
In my dream, I have really intense dreams. You guys know that.
They're called splooge dreams. I don't have wet dreams. I have wet nightmares.
That's terrible. I think you should talk to a therapist about that.
Wet nightmares.
That sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible.
Like, seriously, if that's a thing, you need a psychiatrist fucking urgently.
Wet
No,
nightmares.
psychiatrists just handle the medication. They don't want to
Yeah.
listen to your problems.
Yeah, I just
They want that.
I just got mommy issues.
At least you're aware.
Yeah. All right. So here we are, 325 East Houston Street. And this is actually where we're going. Right here,
Okay.
Jen.
Yeah, on the roof.
On the roof. I knew she was going to say that. I should have fucking
on the
bet.
roof.
Up on the housetop.
I knew she was going to say that. Yes, we are going on the roof. Like 100% yes.
How did you know I was going to say that?
Jen, unfortunately, I've known you for 5 years.
400 episodes almost.
Over 5 years, sir.
Oh, are these solar panels? Yeah,
I
they
think
are.
so, yeah.
I'd put it in a big penis shape.
Yeah, sounds about right.
All right. So we are literally going to the roof right here. And that is not a misnomer. We're going to Friday, August 17th, 1973 on the roof of 325 East Houston Street, Lower East Side, Manhattan. We're talking about a boy named what?
Earl.
Did you want to say something?
No, I thought you were asking me the name of the boy, so I just guessed.
Do you think that's the right
No.
guess, Jen?
No.
It's not the correct answer. No.
So sad for me.
We do not have a picture of this boy. He is the victim, though, and he was found dead on that roof.
Oh, no.
He is a 6-year-old boy.
Oh, no.
He was slashed to death. So this is an old story, and I want to say it wasn't covered too widely spread, which you'll know why here in a little bit. But it didn't really make the papers that there was a serial killer, and so the information's kind of scarce. So I'm going to try to do my best to, make a good story out of it. You want to read that?
Stephen bled to death after a large artery inside the elbow was slashed. Dr. Michael Baden, Chief Deputy medical examiner announced after the autopsy.
All right. Like I said, we do not have a photo of this boy, but we do have a sort of a photo of the other boys that were murdered as well. But Stephen Cropper was his name. He was a 6-year-old boy, so very young.
Okay.
And he was found on the roof of 325 East Houston Street. Now, at this point, I don't know who found him. It didn't say, the paper didn't say who found him. I'm imagining like maybe the duct worker goes up there and finds this. He's a 6-year-old boy. And not only that, he's on a roof with the sun beating down on his body. I'm pretty sure it was smelling, and that is one of the reasons, or maybe like buzzards or something, because it was on the roof.
Yeah.
We know this kid who, there isn't a photo of him, but Stephen Cropper, 6 years old, he was slashed to death Friday, 17th August, 1973. And in his chest, so his clothes were removed and his socks were on, but his shoes were taken off and placed, which a lot of lust killers do, which we've done stories on, but they'll place some dress next to the body. And that's how they were. Carved in this boy's chest, the 6-year-old boy, carved by a razor, a straight razor like you would shave with, just the razor. The reason I'm saying is just razor is because they actually found razor blades, multiple, near his body, like all around his body. Okay, there was like literally a pack of these razors. And carved in this boy's chest was a 9-inch carving of the letter X, which some papers interpret to be a star, which would have a religious connotation to it.
It does.
What is it?
Star of David.
Okay, yeah. There was no evidence of sexual attack. So all that was done was a big old X in his chest. No sexual attack, no chopping off anything. I will say that his arm and his chest, the arteries there were slashed open. He bled to death and he was mutilated. He was actually stabbed 39 times.
Oh my goodness. A 6-year-old?
A 6-year-old. His body, and this is from the paper, his body was, quote, resembling mince meat.
Oh no.
End quote. That's bad. It wasn't like mince meat. It's like,
it's
what
like,
is that?
It's meat that's finely diced and minced.
So 39 times being stabbed, and a boy of that age. Now, actually, this was the last murder of who will become known as Charlie Chopoff, which I've told you that name before, Charlie Chopoff.
Yep.
He wasn't, what's the word when you cut someone's penis off?
Castrate?
Yeah, castrate. There's another word. There's so many words for cutting it. Yeah, I think that's it. Something like that.
I don't know.
Which is
I've
weird.
never done that, so I can't really give you the term.
You guys are going to have to tell me if this is even the same killer as Charlie Chopoff. I'm starting with that, Stephen Cropper, because he was the last victim. All right. Now.
Poor thing. Oh my goodness.
Megatron says Lorena Bobbiting.
Yeah.
So this happened 3 other times. This is the 4th one within the period of less than a year.
Oh,
that's a lot.
That these boys were getting seriously mutilated and disfigured. All of them were on a roof except for one, which was actually in a basement, which is kind of weird because that was
ironic.
Completely different. Yeah, number one, it's very ironic.
Isn't it ironic? It's really probably actually with the proper definition of irony is not ironic, but just for the sake of that, word that we just like, it's interesting. I want to know. It's not ironic. It's interesting that it's the opposite, but irony doesn't mean opposite.
I've never been to Manhattan, right?
We accidentally drove through it once.
I can't stand it. I know.
Too many people. I don't know why everyone wants to live there. Like,
who wants to live there?
A bunch of people. Too many people want to live and go to there. Like, the only reason that I would go there is to like see a show on Broadway. I have no desire to be there other than that, because fuck New York. No offense to everyone that lives there, but like, there's too many people. It's too busy. Like, streets, you don't have any space to walk around. Get mugged.
So we just
traffic.
We just hit the 8th billionth person. There's a baby. You know how they do that? They name a baby like you're the 8th billionth person. There's.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
When did that happen? Today?
No, it was like 2 weeks ago.
There's, instead of being 7.2 billion people in the world, now there's 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah. So this is the 8 billionth mouth breather. What I call fucking babies.
Or just humans in general, I suppose.
Yeah. Baby, 800 millones. 8th billionth person joining our fucked up species. Our species
Good
needs.
for you, little dude.
We need to eradicate everyone, and including myself. I am not saying that I should be.
I don't think we really want to go on the let's eradicate humans on a murder podcast, but it's cool.
Yeah, I'm going to take a step back from this one. I do not agree with eradication.
I'm going to tell you that this killer has killed 3 before we even started this. Before the mincemeat 6-year-old child of Stephen Cropper, he has already killed 3. This is in Harlem in the 60s, which was a very violent time to be living in Harlem. There's actually a documentary. It's like the 70s kids in Harlem or something. And I got really cool pictures of these kids too. Like a lot of them are dressed really it's kind of cool looking. The civil rights era was going on, and Harlem was the worst place in the country to be.
Worse than Mobile?
I mean, if you're black, I'm talking about crime.
It was a crime-ridden area. It was not a good place to be in that time.
Yeah, if you were black and in Mobile, Alabama, yeah, that's probably the worst place. But I'm talking about like of black, white, Puerto Rican, whatever, the melting pot known as New York City, the crime rate was through the roof at that point.
Okay.
So through the freaking roof, which is why it's not just a race thing. It is, but it's also like the Harlem area is so many murders were happening there. I think it was like 4,000 that year or something. It was like incredible.
Wow. That's a lot.
But this eventually gets heated because, okay, there's a serial killer and he's already killed 3 and they're all children. Yeah, let's do something about it. But if you're wondering why there's not a ton of information, it's because of that. But this is the sketch that the police put out. Police have released this composite sketch of suspect being sought in connection with murders of several youngsters. So what is this guy? Who does he look like to you?
A mobster.
Honestly, he kind of looks like the guy from the last episode.
He
Dude,
does.
he does. Does he
does.
fucking not?
Right?
Fuck yeah.
Weird.
Hold on. Let me pull up the other guy. I want you guys. Dude, I also thought that shit. And I was like kind of secretly hoping someone would say that. Let me pull up the other guy because it looked just the fucking same.
Like
Yeah, let me pull him up. Maybe they just had like
that was the look.
a template.
That was the look.
A template.
Coiffed hair.
Yeah. Dude, I also noticed that and I was like, whoa. Because I actually went back and I was like, wait, did I input the wrong guy?
Is this the right murderer for the right story?
All right, so this is the one from the Santa murder. All right. So look at that guy.
Yeah.
And look at this guy.
Oh.
I totally see it.
Whoa.
He looks just the fucking same.
Just missing the chin strap. Yeah.
Yeah, the chin and his hair's kind of
A little different, but I mean, for a sketch, I would say like the eyebrows are very similar.
Yeah, so the eyebrows go down here. So look at these eyebrows. See how they're curved in?
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
my God, that's like
He's
the
just
same.
missing the facial hair.
Huh?
He's just missing the facial
Yeah.
hair.
Let me see. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Whoa.
Oh my God, the hair is the same. See the hair's up there and the hair's up there like that. That's
Funny.
crazy.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, good call. I also noticed that. In fact, I went back because I was like, wait,
You
did
thought
I?
you switched the photos?
Yeah, I thought I messed it up. But since I don't mess anything up because I'm perfect, I knew that was had to be
Right.
something.
Obviously.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So this police sketch was released. The description of this man, he was Hispanic. Actually, he was Puerto Rican. Right.
Okay.
Now, the police didn't really give too much weight to this until there was a big community outrage. This was Harlem, and there were riots and shit going on during this time. So they, I guess, had other things to do, but it was also like crime everywhere. Like, come on, 4,000 murders this year. Leave us alone type of shit. But this guy was Hispanic, but they came out and said he was Hispanic, which he's really Puerto Rican, 30 to 32, which is a pretty good guess of age. Thin acne scars on face between 5'7", 5'10", black hair, swarthy man.
That's an interesting adjective.
Quote, walked with a strange gait, almost a limp, and quote, very pronounced scars on his face. So I'm going to show them to you one more time. There was a man that fit this exact description. His name wasn't released, but this guy looked exactly like this. Exactly like this.
I mean, that looks like a photo, not a sketch.
Legit.
Honestly.
It says
Wait,
police
that's a sketch?
Yes,
composite sketch
it's a
right here.
sketch.
Composite
Damn,
sketch.
that looks like a
I
photo.
know. I agree.
Yeah, they can't. I feel like they can't do that today. The public, they saw this random guy that looks just like that sketch, which looks like every other sketch apparently.
Italian, yeah.
And Puerto Rican, yeah. And they basically lynch mobbed him or got to the point where they were about to.
Police rescued the man and took him to the neighborhood station house, but as word spread through the community that a suspect was in custody, a crowd of about 500 residents gathered outside trying to get at the man. He was finally disguised as a police officer and spirited away in a squad car.
This guy's MO, I told you he's killed 3, and we're going to get to all the victims, but this guy, his MO is very important. The race, all Hispanic or black. I can't tell if they're African American or Puerto Rican. I've seen both, literally both in reports. They're all dark skin, I would tell you that. I don't think they're Puerto Rican. I think they're all African black, okay? And that's going to be, and there's a reason why I say that. They were all under 11 years old, all mutilated either on a rooftop or alleyway and laid in a, quote, ceremonial fashion, end quote. What?
I'm trying to remember who one of the killers we did early on did the taking off the shoes and placing them.
Yeah, so back then they didn't know behavioral psychology for killers, but
Right.
we've done a couple of those.
Yeah, we have.
But there is a reason they do that, and I don't know.
And it may have been people that were in the military as well. Like that was part of the.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So all 3 of them, except for Proper, which had the X outline on his body, had their penises completely removed, and they've been stabbed from 28 times to 40 times each.
Damn.
And they were all eviscerated. Thanks, Wolfie, or whoever gave me that word.
Eviscerated?
They were all eviscerated, which means their penises were cut off. And one of the boys' penis was actually found in a nearby park. Kids were actually playing with it.
Oh, no.
They didn't know what it was.
I don't like that. No.
Which reminds me of a good story.
No,
it's not about penis. It's about my buddy's fleshlight that he lost
God.
in Afghanistan.
That's almost like worse.
And then we found it, and kids were like putting it in their mouth. They didn't know what it was. They thought it was like candy. It was because rubber.
No.
All the penises besides the boy we talked about was removed.
Oh, no.
They were all laid in a ceremonial fashion. One penis was found in a nearby park in Harlem, and kids were playing with it. Those kids...
They were playing with it?
Yes, Jen.
That's how we got to the fleshlight story, Dad.
God, good morning.
God.
They were playing with this paint. They didn't know what it was. I mean, I guess they knew what it was. I don't know if they knew what it was or not.
I mean,
it's probably all dirty. It said in the fucking paper they were playing with it. So that's what I fucking put. All right. The kid,
She don't like that.
I do not like that.
I mean,
I don't like it.
they didn't think it was real. They told a police officer that a man came up to them. They offered him 50 cents. All the kids, this man offered the kids 50 cents to follow him, and none of them did. But they said his name was Michael. So that's important too. Keep that in mind. Michael.
He is a religious person who thinks he may be a god or divine person and is doing this for some unknown reason.
Now, this is before all the behaviorist psychology from the FBI. So these are just psychiatrists. One of them says he's a religious person, like Nicole just read, who may be thinking he is a god and he is doing it for some reason, or a god is communicating him to do this, which is a pretty accurate guess, as you'll find out. And the reason the psychiatrist thought that is because of the way the bodies were placed. Like I said, they were placed ceremonially. Now, there's no pictures of the body. They don't even really describe how they were placed besides being ceremonially placed. So whatever you think, I know the shoes were taken off. However you think that would be, I don't know what pose that would be. But they were all placed like that. Another psychiatrist said, quote, the killer is seeking a perverted sexual gratification and may have been sexually molested as a child by a, quote, what do you think? Blank adult.
Unsupervised. Incompetent.
You want to provide the correct answer? No. They think, this psychiatrist says that this man was sexually molested as a child by a black adult. He is killing black kids. So, you know what I'm saying?
Got it.
Yeah. And this man who was caught is Puerto Rican.
So that doesn't match the description.
No. The victims were all black children. The killer
Was Puerto
Rican.
Sorry.
So the killer as a Puerto Rican was molested
How
by...
drunk are you?
I am like enough where I don't need to finish this beer.
Let's go get the fireball.
It's all gone.
Shit. Let's go get the moonshiner.
No way.
Oh, God.
I should have brought that apple pie moonshine from my party.
Next time.
I'll bring it.
So they think that this man was sexually molested by a black adult. Dr. Harvey Schlossberg said the following.
Had publicly declared that he thought the murderer was a desire killer, saying that symbolically it's an orgasm, really it's extremely sexual.
Oh.
So desire killer, lust killer, that's lust killer is a new word for that. Read the next one. This is from the book, The Story of Charlie Chopoff. There's a fucking book about it.
From the book Inside the Chilling Story of Charlie Chopoff, according to Schlossberg, the killer was likely crazy or terrified of women and harbored a latent homosexual desire. Outraged by these desires, the killer castrated the boys to turn them into girls. Additionally, he thought that the 2 murders that occurred at the same time of the year had been significant.
None of the psychiatrists knew why he was doing it until it was revealed after the guy was arrested. But God was telling him specifically to turn these boys into girls. I don't think that was like a thing back then. You didn't have sex changes in the 60s. I'm pretty sure. Even though Ed Gein wanted one.
Right. It was, I don't think that was that was not a procedure available at that point in time.
Which is crazy because that's what God was telling him to do. Now think about this. This happened when? In 1973.
73.
So this guy, God, was telling him to kill these people in Manhattan, Harlem, and this was in 1973. And just a few streets over, albeit a few years later, a satanic dog was telling another man to kill couples making babies in cars. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Now, which story got more attention?
Neither. Something else.
Very good, Jen. Yeah, 9/11 happened around then. Go back to sleep.
That got a lot more coverage, obviously. I mean, it was in red ink on the New York Post.
Which I own a copy of that.
I know.
You know how expensive that is?
I know.
So why did he get the name Charlie Chopoff before we get to the other victims?
Because he would chop off. I remember.
But what is interesting is how the boys cope with this danger. He said, "This unknown man has become somewhat of a culture hero and is called Charlie Chopoff by my 12-year-old son and his friends, and his intelligence is simply intermixed with their conversations about sports and girls and homework."
So it's kind of a weird way of, because I mean, who was he killing? Kids.
Right.
And who was making this name up? Kids. In the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny. But the media loved that name, Charlie Chopoff.
Oh.
I'm imagining in the
I
60s,
don't love
especially
that.
in the inner city, I'm imagining that name came from doing the jump rope. Charlie
yeah.
Chopoff.
Took an
and then Pete's penis. Okay, that was all right.
Something like that.
Let's talk about the guy that was caught for this. Okay, and I'm not saying he did it, but let's talk about the guy that was actually caught. Okay, this is the man right here that they caught. His name is Erno Soto, and I'm going to tell you a description about this guy. Now, there's no photo of his face, which is kind of odd. So this is the only known photo of him.
Wow.
Ernesto Soto is taken from my Manhattan Supreme Court yesterday. This is what he looks like.
Interesting. Or
Now-
at least what they say he looks like.
For being a serial killer, it's kind of odd to me that there's no known,
Yeah.
there's no other photos of his face.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, description. Unemployed former drug addict, in and out of mental hospitals for the last 6 years before this. Poorly dressed man living in shabby hotels and rooming houses. Puerto Rican. Why this guy? Well, he was sent to the Bellevue Hospital after he tried to molest an 8-year-old boy in May of 1974, during which he was arrested. He was babbling religious nonsense. He does have relatives that are near all the murder scenes in that inner city, and he was there some of the times during the slayings. One officer said, quote, "The probability that the same man did all 4 crimes are fantastic."
Yeah.
Sergeant Jerry McQueen said, quote, "We got him because of himself. He grabbed a kid. The kid started screaming and someone called the police." So a phone call during the first murder, which we're going to get to now, was a boy named Douglas Owens, 8 years old. He was stabbed 39 times. This was March 9th, 1972. This was also around the same area, 121st Street. So this was about a year earlier, 1972. The one we started with, 1973. This is the boy right here that was killed first and mutilated. This boy was stabbed 39 times, shoes removed. His penis was sliced off, but not all the way. It was hanging on by a, quote, "flap of flesh," end quote. The next boy, Wendell Hubbard, 9 years old. This happened October 23rd, 1972. So first one, March, serial killer cool down period. Next one, October. This is Wendell. We do have a photo of him. This is that Wendell right here. Wendell Hubbard right here. So this is the next boy, age 7, it says. So he, about 6 months later, his penis was actually removed. We don't know. It didn't say whose penis the kids were playing with in the park. It could have been his, or it could have been the next victim was Luis Ortiz, 9 years old. This boy was stabbed 38 times. This was March 6, 1973. This was the one that was found in the basement, 200 West 106th Street. And he had went to the corner store to get some milk and bred. His penis was severed, and either his or the last one, Wendell's, was never found again. The one penis was found in the park. The other penis of the first mutilated boy remained by a flap of flesh. So we have 2 penises missing. One was found at the park.
I wouldn't want to find a penis at the park.
Oh, God, Jen. All right.
No, I would not either. I agree.
I was listening.
How do we know this guy is him? Well, they did arrest someone first. His name was Daniel Olivo. He was detained August 20th. He was detained from sexually abusing a 5-year-old Puerto Rican boy, and he matched the description perfectly, but he had an alibi, which was like, a friend.
Right.
Soto, 33 years old. We don't have a picture of his face, only of him getting arrested. He was a former drug addict, in and out of mental hospitals for 6 years, and he was arrested after trying to molest an 8-year-old boy. He was also around the same scenes when the murders happened because his relatives lived there. And the reason that he did confess, but he only confessed to the latter killing of the first one we talked about, which didn't even have his penis cut off. That was Stephen Cropper. He just had an X on his chest.
Right.
He only confessed to that one specifically, and then they pinned all the other ones on him. It seems like they would be, he did them all, right?
Right.
All
Yeah.
right. God actually told him to do it to turn the boys into girls, and he was, quote, aggressive with grandiose religious beliefs. Now, the kid that he got arrested for, he was trying to molest, the kid could not pick him up out of a lineup at all. So,
that's a problem.
he did not have a limp as well. His trial was thrown out because he's too mentally unstable to stand trial. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia, hallucinations, and delusions. The reason that he went insane was because 6 months ago, and this is crazy, 6 months ago, before all these murders, his wife divorces him. She was a Puerto Rican woman. She divorces him because she had a black baby. That's kind of interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting.
I don't know. A lot of people don't think it was him. He's dead now. A lot of people still don't think it's him. The case is actually still unsolved. Technically, it's still an open case because they think he may have killed the one at last, but he didn't cut the penis off the first one. And also the fact that he was in a mental hospital when 2 of the other murders were committed. So they don't actually...
Oh,
but he was blamed for all of them.
that's a pretty solid alibi, I would think.
I'd say.
Jeez.
Yeah. So they were trying to pin it on him. However, unfortunately, he didn't even stand trial because he was mentally incompetent. But so he just lived in a mental hospital until he died. That's the story. Charlie Chopoff, not much on there. Like I said, Harlem kids, no one really cared back then or care now. But anyway, what do you guys think? You guys still here?
I feel like they should be recognized for.
I mean, it's interesting that they kind of shoved it onto someone just to get appeased, you know?
Well,
but there were no other similar crimes afterwards.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That is true, yeah. So I'm not saying he didn't kill all these.
I mean, he's got a solid alibi for...
I didn't mention that they actually said that he could have, and the exact quote was, quote, jumped the wall of the mental institution and done this and then came back. So
Okay.
if
It's it wasn't like a super locked down place.
Right.
the real killer did stop after he was arrested. So
Did it come up from any of his psych evals that he was abused as a child if he was in a mental facility for so long?
no, so during his confession, he said that he was molested by a black parent, an adult.
So it did match with
It matched pretty good. So he was a Puerto Rican. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm not trying to sound bad, but I think during that time, maybe this is completely wrong and forgive me, but I don't think the Puerto Rican population and the black population got along. I'm saying that back then in the 60s, especially in Harlem,
it could have been like a neighborhood kind of thing. Who knows? Yeah.
But he was Puerto Rican and he did confess that he was molested as a child by a black adult, which matched the psychiatrist perfectly.
Yeah, that's true.
So, all right. So if he didn't do it, he was the copycat killer, I guess,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It wasn't his original idea.
He has schizophrenia and he was messed up. So anyway, I mean, I don't know. Kind of a small story, but
That's interesting.
It was.
So until next time, good night, you lovely, lovely people.